And in this house, the most dire, horrible events took place.
You are not content with the stories somebody's lives come. Be my victim.
Through watching scenes of violence, through watching scenes of transgression, through watching scenes of horror. There's an enormous amount of sort of abattoiral excess.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
How many of you were expecting me to drop a Sally Sparks clip right in the middle of that? I won't do that to you, chat. Yeah, I'm too nice. I'm too considerate of chat. I would never do them dirty like that. Also, I ran out of time. Not saying it will not happen in future episodes, because I do like that kind of fun. How are we doing tonight, folks?
I am very good.
Nice. Yeah. I'm glad to hear it. I'm very glad to hear it. We are joined, of course, by absolute stalwarts, Haryan.
Oh, hello, that's me. Hello, you probably know me.
Set thought, very good, very good.
Yes.
And tonight, that Max Headroom guy. I'm going to be asking you to explain that name in a bit.
Oh, fair enough. Yes, please do. And hello, what up? Welcome to the channel, and what up, my shillers?
Yeah, very nicely done. And of course, returning, Wholesome Waifu.
Indeed. Good evening, folks. I'm on the other side of the mic for once. So be warned, Gatsby will probably make an appearance because I won't be there to wrangle.
Be excited that Gatsby might make an appearance. Every time he's come in and screamed his little head off, all I've seen is praise and love for him in the chat.
I mean, let's be honest, it's not might make an appearance, it will make an appearance. It's just that how loud and how long it'll go on is always hard to predict.
He is a creature of habit. I want to talk about something that happened when I tried to watch this movie that we are going to talk about in depth after we cover our horror topic. Also, by the way, double feature horror show episode 58. Not a particularly significant number, but crikey, they build up when you do them every week, don't they?
Oh, that right.
Began on for a bit now, hasn't it?
Yeah. Over a year.
Can confirm, lasted longer than CNN Plus. So, you know, we're obviously doing something right.
It's an achievement.
Absolutely dabbing on CNN Plus there. Lovely, lovely. So I was trying to be good, upstanding, moral, as you would expect from me. And I was on the computer I'm on now, and I was looking, where can I see broadcasting Signal Intrusion? It doesn't seem to be super well known. Shudder doesn't have it. Netflix doesn't have it. Okay, well, I would hate to pirate it. That would be terrible. So I went on Amazon for it, and they were saying, £3.50. $3.50 for a rental? Oh, gosh.
$3.50.
Oh, man. It's like
$3.50.
It's like the old Blockbuster days without the charm. And I was like, okay, no, fine, I guess we're going to have to. So I didn't click the button then. I went into my living room and we sat down, and through the smart TV, we were like, we're going to have to get it off Amazon. And when we did that, it was not $3.50. It wasn't $3.50 at all.
No, go on.
No, they stiffed me an extra £1.10.
Wow. That is daylight robbery.
And you know what? I paid it.
Wow.
I didn't get off my ass. I did not get off my backside and go to the computer and pay for it there to save myself 110 pence. I sat there and I clicked yes, and that's why they do it.
And you can say that it was worth every penny. Or possibly you can't.
Or maybe it costed the same, but the time it took for you to get off your computer and onto the TV, it escalated in price because of inflation. Inflation.
Of course.
You're seeing it happen in real time.
Oh my
Like the other
gosh.
day, I went to the shops, right? And, you know, I like my little budget supermarkets. I go to Lidl. As, you know, the cheapskate that I am, you can, I have certain blood that would you know.
I could not possibly
And,
comment until we cover They
You,
Live.
and
Exactly.
you can imagine my horror and shock when I saw that their lemonade had gone up from 29p to 32p, up 3p, and all I could think of was that's a 10% increase, more than.
I tell you, Fredo was the first to go.
Yeah. Oh, I saw a good
Fredo
meme
was
the other
trying
day.
to warn us.
I did see a good meme about Fredo. It was the old yes, you know, the side
Oh,
profile
yeah.
yes, and it was like men go using time travel, goes back in time. One of them says, "How much is Fredo's?" The other guy's 10p. And I'm old enough to get it, and I was just like, man, I'm old enough to get that.
Yeah, I don't know. We're maybe confusing any non-Brit bongs watching this. Oh, you know what? I like those Euro stores as well. I do. One
Maverick
thing that-
Hunter has the right idea.
Yeah. You know, you're getting the shill in for me. I'll do a proper shill in a second. But
Yes.
I like the budget European stores. They've got that nice sort of taste of the apocalypse to them. You know.
Yes.
But sometimes you go in there, it's got the most random stuff in there. Like we're in Aldi. I'm checking out the peppers. What's that over there? Yarn. Who goes to Aldi for yarn?
Well, like they sometimes sell hiking gear there, don't they? Like they have this entire section which is just like, yeah, we're just going to sell some random stuff and we're going to like put quote, I'm doing air quotes here, like special offers, and it's just like it's just the most random stuff that they've managed to just think, oh, yeah, we can probably get rid of that. Like you'll have like, it was like one time they were selling shoes there, right? But they weren't like paired together neatly. They were just bundled in this like giant basket, and you sort of had to rummage around to try and find like two shoes that were the opposite feet and also the same size.
Oh man.
It was,
Come
feel
to
like
Lidl and get a
those-
bag of shoes.
I sort of feel like those shops have a bit of that whatever is in like extended offers section is more whatever fell off the back of their mate's van 3 days ago.
Yes.
That's the kind of
You've
vibe
got
I
that
get.
vibe. Yeah, it totally has that vibe.
I can imagine Haryan's a Waitrose shopper though.
Haryan, can you confirm? Do you slum it?
Booths. I shop at Booths. I'm from North.
Ah, okay.
Oh,
You
crikey.
Southerners won't have heard of Booths.
Do you know what? To be fair, I haven't heard of Booths.
I think I have because I've got family in North.
Ah.
There you go.
Murgy's asking the real question: would you go to the Dollar Meat still?
I would go to the Dollar Meat store. I want to know what the this is an EFAP meme.
What?
And
Yeah, sorry, this is EFAP invading.
They've shared this picture of like a place in his town or whatever, and it's called the Dollar Meat store, and it's all Chinese, and no one can tell what the animal's supposed to be on like the like sign for it. It looks really weird. It doesn't look like any sort of animal, but it's kind of like a red, like monocolored picture.
Yeah,
That's brilliant.
Look, it might sound dodgy. It might sound like a bit of a shady side of Vancouver, but on the other side, I have heard that they've really reduced their homelessness problem. So, you know, it's not all bad.
There's less stray cats about as well, I hear.
Yeah.
So
Fewer
It's all
people riding
going
the
well.
midnight meat train.
Oh, there we
Oh,
are. What
nice.
a callback! What a
Nice.
callback! You see, you fit in here so well, waifu. We should do the professional thing rather than talking about the Dollar Meat store. But
'cause
Maverick.
that was-
has
I'll
got
say
there. We
that
should do
wasn't
it.
that wasn't a horror topic, was it?
No.
although I can imagine that the Dollar Meat store in Vancouver's Chinatown sounds pretty horrific.
Horror topic. Would you go to the Dollar Meat store? Jeez. Yeah. So we should do the shilling. Sorry, I forgot it. We've got to shill. We've got to be professional. This is YouTube, guys. We've got to
Intercept
grease.
the
Susan
signal, like the video, like, share, subscribe.
you better
Oh,
Sally
Shannon.
Spark that favorite button. That doesn't even make sense.
If you've got friends who are interested in horror, you've got to invade their house, awkwardly fight them with no music that kind of kills the mood, slam them in a cage, and make them watch this channel and then subscribe. That's the thing to do, guys. Maybe hit them with a hammer. I don't know.
Randomly
Maybe break
slice
his arm.
that subscribe button with no
Yeah.
particular warning. I got nothing.
Well,
Stalk this channel around the internet for ages in a really creepy way whilst you're already under threat and should be alarmed, and then for some reason chill and have a drink with it, and it's no problem because you kind of look like Abigail Shapiro. So who about the stalking?
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to worry you too much, but I heard, and I don't know whether this can be confirmed or not, but if you don't like, if you don't share, if you don't subscribe to the channel and do all of that jazz, I've heard that Gatsby's going to be given up for adoption.
We'll have no choice. We'll have no choice but to do it.
Especially because Horror Show did spend, what, £4.60 on this film?
£4.60 on this film.
£4.60.
That's a lot of bickies that Gatsby can't eat. So
yeah.
you will be making sure Gatsby gets fed if you do your bit. Oh, what a shill! Oh, brilliant. We got all the
It's got dark.
Yeah.
Oh,
subscribe to the channel or the cat goes hungry.
That's the message I want to.
To be fair, as far as he's concerned, he's hungry all the time anyway. So
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah,
There we
Pepper's
go.
exactly the same. Do you find this as well? Sorry, I keep derailing it, but do you find that you'll lay out a full bowl of food, right, for your cat? She'll look at it, and then she'll look back up at you. It's like, it's right there, and then she'll look at it again, look up at you, and you're like, it's there.
Oh yeah, she doesn't want those meats.
No.
She wants different meats.
Yeah.
Maybe the same meats moved around the bowl. Who knows? But keep providing meats, human. God, yeah.
Dogs are
what I
better
love
than
with
cats.
Gatsby is that he decided quite a long time ago that the only person he's allowed to feed him is Chloe. So even if I'm getting up earlier than her in the morning, he would just sit by her side of the bed, yelling. I'd put fresh food out. I'd kind of prod it, be like, "Look, Gatsby, it's right here." And he'd be like, "Nah, Chloe has to do it."
Oh my god, Pepper's exactly the same with me. It has to be me, and she will wake me up. Honestly, it's like regimental. About 20 to 6 in the morning. Like right in my face. Oh jeez, what are you doing? Come on, feed me. Right. I am more of a dog person.
Luckily, I am up before 6 for the chickens at the moment, which
Nice.
is cool. I love them. They're brilliant, and I think they are making noise from about 5:20 at the moment. But let's not chicken stream. Let's not chicken stream at the moment.
I blame daylight savings.
I
You know,
also blame daylight savings.
For an hour later, wouldn't annoy me, even though I can't hear the chickens.
All right. Okay, folks. I reckon we should get into it. We shilled. We've talked about the dollar meat store. I mean, God, Harry, you got me hooked on EFAP.
You're welcome. It's an excellent waste of 8 hours.
I'm so annoyed with
So
myself. It's like, you aren't going to watch 8.5 hours stream of Twitch streamers being idiots justifying thieving.
Watch me.
No, I'm going to watch 24 hours of EFAP content on this.
Well, I've watched the first 2 Hassan streams about 3 times through because I find them so funny.
I'm going to go back to the original Hassan streams, I think. Yeah. There we go. Yes, you save Gatsby,
Nice.
You subscribe, you spread the good word, because spreading the good word is the best thing you can do for this channel. And we have super chats open. We have Subscribe Star, which is linked in the description. I have actually set up memberships for this channel, but which I think technically counts as me announcing it, but I will talk about what you can get in memberships another time, because we need to move on to discussing our topic, our horror movies, good date movies. Throwing that out to you all and loading up some fantastic Shutterstock.
Oh, nice. Oh,
I like.
look at that.
I'm asking this because I don't feel it's as big as a meme now, but this was totally a thing back in the day. Anyone who's watched stuff from the 90s, you know that was the meme. You've got a date, you show her a horror film, she's going to get all scared, and she'll cuddle up to you. It's a guaranteed one. It's a smooth tactic. And so this meme went out that you'll watch horror movies for dates. I have always had my doubts about this, so I wanted to throw it to the panel quickly.
Okay. I suppose it depends on what horror you're going to see, because I mean, if it was a zombie film for me, the girl, oh no, I'm a bit scared, reaching over, she'll go to reach and she'll just like hug air because I'd be behind the sofa. Probably not a great experience for her, mate. Well, it's got to be done, isn't it?
Throw some balls, be the man, what you doing.
But, if it's a Friday the 13th film, I mean, this is kind of how myself and Hayley got roped into everything.
By roped into everything, do you mean together?
Marriage, children and all that jazz, yeah. It's how we got roped into it.
Sounds good.
Because we have a share, we found out early on that we liked horror films, and when we did dates and stuff like that, we would, even to this day still, like, we'll sod romantic stuff, it'll be right, let's stick a horror film on. That's always our go-to for quote unquote date night. So in that regard, yeah, perfect. But I don't know, it's kind of one of those to each their own, really, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, I mean,
there
I
are
found
some people that...
Sorry.
No, go on. Sorry.
As you say, it kind of does depend on the horror film, because my response to seeing, say, Texas Chainsaw Massacre was that I never wanted to see another human for years. I don't know what I looked like leaving the cinema, Chloe. I must have looked an absolute kind of traumatized wreck, but that's not exactly conducive to having a nice kind of romantic evening in. But on the other hand, Chloe was the one who kind of, in one of our early dates, was like, right, I've got a syllabus of horror films that we're going to go through.
True.
Literally gave me kind of, before each film, she'd give me a talk about like where it fitted in like the history of horror movies, how it was related to others, and like key things to look out for in the film. And then after every film, we'd finish with like, so what did you think of The Haunting or whatever? Which was nice and has given abiding memories, but I think most people probably don't aim for like lectures with their dates. Possibly.
Which is why the lectures now come on stream form, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I was going to say the horror syllabus is pretty much the precursor to this. I'm going to need confirmation. Fez, did you take someone to see Seven as a date? I can't picture this. I need to know. I have to know. God, there would be... Oh no, it'd be just before Shakespeare in Love. But I could imagine someone pitching Seven as like, it's got Brad Pitt, it's got Gwyneth Paltrow. You're gonna love it. It's gonna be great.
What would be the least appropriate horror film for a date, for like a first date?
Human Centipede.
Look at that! What timing? I don't know. I mean, you could argue that Human Centipede is a great film about togetherness.
This will be us, love.
Yeah.
Yes,
you
can imagine that conversation after watching that film. So yeah, love. I thought that was a bit of an odd film, but I have to ask you. What position of the centipede would you be in?
For the front, back
all the way home on the bus.
Yeah,
that
front.
discussion.
My God, that's such a middle thing to say. I am going to stand up for that movie.
God.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it as a weird bit of satire.
Please, let's not make it. Oh, you're a front centipede. You're a back centipede. Personality type. The bloody astrology thoughts will be all over it.
Oh,
Well,
best
say
BuzzFeed
gender.
quiz ever.
Although, mind you, that question would get a bit more complicated from the second film onwards, though, wouldn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, well,
I'm
they
a
go up to
third from the
12
back.
in the second.
Yeah, what was it? The third one? I think there was like a
It's a whole prison yard, isn't it?
whole prison of them. Yeah.
Yeah. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I read the synopsis the other day for reasons, and they decide to make like a full, like 50-person centipede plus a human caterpillar.
A
where-
human caterpillar.
I can't. Hang on, I'll look it up because it's.
Yiz doesn't like the talk.
I'll look it up mainly to traumatise years. Back in a second.
Sorry. I want to read out Tail Features comment there. Was playing a game called Dragon with my scouts where they made a human chain. One of them said, "Wouldn't it be better if it was called Human Centipede?" My face went.
Oh no!
You got to remind them about they've seen
things,
that.
right, guys?
Oh,
That is unbelievable.
That's special. That is very special.
I hope you slap that kid, Tailed.
We did. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend the Human Centipede 7 funny games. Not so much. We had a very bad time with It Follows.
I want to see that.
Oh, it's so good. We are covering it.
Oh, excellent.
But yeah, that was one where like, I'll give it a go. I heard good things. Someone came along and not really a horror fan, but was game to give it a try and was absolutely like properly shitting it just the whole film. Like, are you going to be okay through this one? Like proper jumping back, screams. Good times.
The human
Good
caterpillar.
Do I?
Found it.
It's part of the human centipede.
Um,
So they make the human centipede with however many inmates, because it's set in a prison. In addition to the centipede, a human caterpillar, where the victim's limbs have been amputated, has been created for inmates serving life sentences. It's also revealed that Daisy has accidentally been sewn into the centipede.
accidentally.
Who?
So there's a character called Daisy who was played by a former porn actress, because she's considered the all-American girl. Well done, America.
Maggie
Yeah.
can confirm. That was a choice. In fairness, I had not seen it in advance.
I mean, what's wrong with that film?
We should cover it. It's one I would not spoil for you. It's a genuinely wonderful film, but you'll understand when you watch it. Let's see. Shivers would be an interesting one. It does have that sort of horniness going on, but I think the sort of infections in people's armpits, possibly a mood killer.
What about Teeth?
Oof,
Teeth is a fantastic one to take.
Oh, I want to rewatch that.
I think I'll get too many threats from my girlfriend.
Well, we could do it. It'll be fine. I was reading Kim Newman's book, Nightmare Theatre. I'm not going to go and fetch it, but I've got a weird early edition that just stops in 1989 or something. It's quite unfortunate, but he talks about some of Cronenberg's earlier like student stuff, and oh my goodness. Well, we got off lightly with the feature films that were released. He's got some really nasty stuff. But I just remember liking the description of these sort of very nymphomaniac, super stabby films as resembling the University of Sussex. Kim Newman, very dry sense of humour. Oh, sorry, Rabid. Apologies. I'm confused on Shivers then. Sorry, John.
What about The Hills of Eyes?
Ooh. I think it's pretty epic. But possibly a bit too traumatic.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, it's a good film. It's a brilliant film. But again, it gets a bit...
If you can get
Struggle
through the
snuggly.
first attack, maybe. But if she can't get through that first attack, you're not going to get the sort of triumph. You're just going to be traumatized halfway through the film.
Do you know, I was thinking that House of Wax. Now I know you haven't seen it because you avoid waxwork films. Interestingly,
I do. I have a weird
What?
dislike of them.
oh, did you not know that?
It's our 8-year anniversary today, and this is a new thing I've learnt about her today.
Hey, well, happy anniversary first of all, and
Cheers.
second of all, you need to see.
It's really specific.
Yeah, as we were sort of like looking up this topic, I was thinking to myself because I watched it the other week, and I mean, it's not the best film. I mean, on the one hand, it's got Jared Padalecki, who was in the obviously Supernatural and the Friday remake, which was bloody good.
Oh, he's a beautiful man.
And then on the other hand, you've got Paris Hilton. So you know,
That's
Mixed bag.
bit of a mixed bag.
sometimes the ridiculous.
Yeah, but I think that would be quite a good date horror film.
I'd
What
say
is it like?
light-hearted.
They're all couples in the film, apart from like two of the guys. They're like mates, but apart from that, you know, it's all like
Not
little
when
romantic.
Chloe's finished with him.
Oh no, that's true.
Gay readings abound.
Oh, big time.
God damn it.
I think there is a gay reading to be had in that film, actually, as well. To be fair,
I've changed my mind. I'm in.
Watch it.
seriously, give it. Yeah, you should watch it just to spot the gay reading.
I've
And you
wanted
never
to
know.
watch it for ages.
Speaking of gay readings, I hope people went and saw my my excellent homoerotic horror video of Clive Barker. There's some very choice gay readings in that.
I tried to flag it for hate speech.
Yeah, for some reason I did not get that monetized, and I'm being
really?
yeah. I
Was it
can't
possibly a
think what it
mention of
was in
television?
that video.
So,
that
hang
did
on.
the job. But,
Let me get this straight, right?
Mhm.
Talking about make-believe films and having theories about them, banhammer on the monetization. However, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see a fully monetized video, go and check out my latest video.
How is that monetized? That
Wait,
was
really?
Still
Yeah.
Oh,
To be fair, I mean, I haven't been uploading that often, but I think I'm gonna double check this. I'm pretty sure I haven't had a video demonetized since. So the last video I had demonetized was the 3rd of October, but that was McCamey Manor. That one was like full on age restricted, but everything since then I've had no issues with, which is really
Fez.
odd because I'm a true crime channel and
yeah.
quite
Fez, the
notorious.
real question is who else has been in Paris?
What
as
else?
the follower?
And for how many nights,
Oh,
etc.
well, fun fact: Cristiano Ronaldo's been there.
Oh no!
What?
Yeah.
This topic has gone into some very unexpected areas. I think maybe we can. I think you have to be selective. I would suggest that your kind of 90s slasher and meta irony is probably a pretty good place to go.
I agree. Yeah,
I know
think.
what you did last summer.
Perfect.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Perfect.
Scream.
Nice.
Oh, lovely. Although I did make
Oh, bye, Haryan.
Apparently he objects.
Wait, he leaves for Scream after we've talked about the Human Centipede for 20 minutes. That absolute stay.
My Bloody Valentine, Murgoot says in the
Comes
chat.
crawling.
Here he is.
Yeah, My Bloody
Yeah,
Valentine. Good shout. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Platinum Dune stuff is a good shout for that sort of. They've got a bit of pedigree, but they are largely light-hearted. They're not trying to traumatize you too much, with the possible exception of, The Hills of Eyes and Last House on
Yeah.
the Left. And
I
I
mean,
Spit on Your Grave, and yeah, definitely not I Spit on Your Grave. Bad
not-
call.
yeah. I mean, I was just remembering one of our early dates watching Saw together, which definitely do not recommend. That's not. that
Oh,
was
I
very
might
much
go
you
for
saw
Saw.
we've done that.
the room.
Yeah.
I'd vouch for Saw as a date film, but
We've
I
done
think
that.
Won't be
As the
well
recipient
received
of the
generally.
date, it depends what you're trying to do.
Yeah. Try leave me and I'll leave you in a locked room. I want to play a game.
Merkit calls it, scary movie.
Yeah.
You can't go better. We should probably switch on to the film. So
Really?
I hope. Yeah. Oh, hang
not?
on. No. You watched 3 hours of Jam in a row. If folk haven't seen Jam, it is.
That sounds very tailed feature, I'm
Oh,
going to be honest.
gosh, how can I say? It's kind of like speed running Possessor, but with far
Chris
more
Morris.
emphasis on disjointed. Yeah, it's a very disturbing show.
Isn't-
Very
well,
weird. My goodness,
Chris Morris is the comedian, isn't it?
he is. But Jam is a very, very dark, twisted. I don't know if he even wants you to laugh. It's an experience, I would say.
Oh, I've just seen one of the pictures. Jesus wept. Oh my god. Oh no. Okay. Yep. Okay. What the hell?
No,
I
no.
actually would.
Well,
I'm
you've
going
not
to
found
argue.
Ronaldo and Paris Hilton, have you?
No, but right. Okay. I'm just gonna. I'm just. Oh Jesus Christ! These are well uncanny valley. Right. I
What
am.
you're looking at.
I'm going to change my profile picture just to one I've just seen. Oh my god, it's actually freaking me out. Hold on. It's genuinely freaking me out. I'm changing my profile picture.
I can't tell what you're looking at that's making you this disturbed.
Right. Okay.
So I've just Google imaged it.
Oh bloody hell! Right. Okay.
Take your time, man.
Oh, it's right. No,
We're all in
please,
suspense.
please do crack
I
on.
am waiting.
All right, okay, we'll get into it. So, the reason we're covering this is that I was looking ages ago. You'll remember this, folks. We were doing horror trailer reviews. I don't do them too often because I get smacked with the copyright claim every time, and who can be bothered to fight that? And I came across Broadcast Signal Intrusion, and I thought, this is a really good trailer. I was like, we'll look at this. And the trailer really freaked us out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good trailer.
And so I was like, okay, this looks pretty interesting. It's got an interesting premise. It's a horror film based around the actual broadcast signal intrusions that happened. They were a thing. People breaking into the TV signals and taking over the broadcasts that were happening. Infamously of a Doctor Who. I'll get you to talk about that in a bit, TCG.
Sure thing.
I thought that's got a lot of premise. It looks creepy as hell, really disturbing stuff. Let's watch it. Turns out it's from someone who, is not a newcomer, has made a fair few movies, Jacob Gentry. Not someone I'm particularly familiar with, but he has been working since about 2000, the mid 2000s on mid 2000s on horror films and films in general. So he's got some experience. It's got Harry Shum, who I believe we should be fairly familiar with. You guys know Harry Shum Jr.?
Nope.
The male lead?
Nope.
Well, you guys, I'm sure, will be familiar with Glee, certainly. Harry Shum, star of Glee, as Mike Chang, no? Mostly dancer by training, no?
I'm not gay.
I don't. Yeah, I didn't. I can't say I was an avid watcher of Glee horror show.
Okay, maybe Step Up 2. Yeah, big fans of the Step Up series.
No.
He was also in that.
Again, neither gay nor women.
Okay, not probably the wrong audience to get.
Any
some
other
of...
photos?
Are you gonna make a gay reading of this film? If you make a gay reading of this film, I'm gonna fucking lose it.
Challenge accepted.
No. Okay, so he's a guy I had some familiar with, some familiarity with. I do actually genuinely have a quite like. Chat is not a fan of the shirtlessness.
Bring
I
it back.
guess what you're getting weeks of now, lads. Sorry, so I had some familiarity with him, and I genuinely do like Step Up to the Streets far too much. It's a good film. I had a fun time. So it seemed intriguing. Having watched it and been ripped off for £1.10 by Amazon.
Unbelievable.
Oh, I know. I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm moving on. I am really in two minds about this film. Massively in two minds. And it's because it is... Would you say it's fair to say that this was quite different to the film you thought you were going to get?
Yes.
I guess what were my
terrible Weebury. I obviously don't know what that is, Years. I'd never Google that.
Yowie thirst.
Yes, Harry. Tell me what it is.
No.
I need you to just go straight to the image search.
That's what I've done. Oh, that's worse than jam. Expectations for this film after the trailer.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I don't know. I kind of got the feeling there'd be some sort of investigation. I mean, I got there'd be an investigation into this, but I just thought it'd be more interesting, basically. And I thought there'd be more thought put into the actual investigation rather than just, people are just going to tell him things.
Oh.
Yeah, well, he just sort of wandered into bits and got information.
Yeah, literally.
By accident. He didn't really drive the plot.
Interesting. Interesting that you say that. I noticed something when I was doing the screen caps. I was like, one of those, that's why that bugged me moments. And it does relate to, I think if we're going to call faults with this film, one of the big ones is that actually, he doesn't investigate that much and it kind of just falls into his lap.
Yeah. I'm not, spoilers already, obviously, but
yes, full spoilers for Broadcast Signal Intrusion from 2021.
But it's like right at the end when this is the most investigative he does. Like his apartment gets ransacked by who you don't know, but they leave the last tape. Who had that? You don't know. And he just puts it in and it tells him everything. It's like, oh yeah, you've had 2 other tapes, but this one's going to show you where it is. And it's like, oh, that's great.
I have that as well. Thanks. I have a screen cap of that specific moment, and it is saved as BSI 19 cheating clue too damn obvious .png.
Yeah, it's like thanks.
Just literally like, oh hey, did you want to solve this mystery? Here's my home address. Like,
it got to that bit, and it did feel like someone had gone, oh, guys, we've only got budget to make another 20 minutes of film. Let's just crack on, yeah?
Wrap it up, guys.
Just, slam this bit in, name of the farm, be fine. Like, in real life, you go up to all this effort to make this set with the masks and everything. It's like, I'm going to literally show you my name and address as well. That would be like me trying to not dox myself for 3 years and just putting my credit card details on the screen right now. That's it.
Do it.
What has happened here?
Did anyone else get LA Noire vibes from the backing music?
Never played it, but I know what you mean. It's Rockstar game.
Yeah.
The one where you play as a noir type investigator. I do want to.
If you've played LA Noire, and I'm saying this more to the chat. And obviously,
to the gamers,
to the gamers in the chat. If you've played this, if you've played LA Noire, and if you can recall what the soundtrack sounded like, there's a striking similarity between sort of like the tones of it. If you haven't played LA Noire, go and have a quick listen to the soundtrack or watch some game footage, and just listen to the soundtrack playing in the background, and then go back and watch this. I think what you sort of touched upon with the investigative, like the depth of the investigative work, I kind of think was masked by the LA Noire-esque music to give you that sense of real investigation going on. For me, though, about this film, there's a couple of things. I thought it was quite interesting because it does sort of explore the concept of rabbit holes and conspiracies. And it also, I found the ending to be quite interesting, because I'm sure we'll get to that. Actually, I won't spoil it now, but I did find the ending of the film quite interesting.
Yeah, there's a room for a fair amount of interpretation over what's actually happening.
Definitely.
And it is that I think it is basically that classic of the person investigating, did they actually do the thing? And I'm not sure if that is intended by that.
Yeah. I'm kind of leaning on your sort of opinion of that. I didn't, because like Haryan said, a lot of things sort of happened to have fell into his lap. I mean, this elusive third video, or this third incident, was a bit dumb, but it was kind of like the tone of the film in terms of like how he explored this rabbit hole and sort of went further into it. But
there's a kind of if the answer is basically it just arrives because basically he already had the answers, that's something. But I think maybe we should take a step back. Let's imagine we were down at pub,
Right.
and someone asks you, "Here, what's this broadcast signal intrusion vote?" What would you say? Does anyone want to take that and try and give a quick premise for what we see over the film?
I mean, genuine 3-minute summary, I guess. Guy,
timer, go.
Super nice.
Guy James, he's a guy who's putting archival footage of is it public access TV? No, it's just some TV station. Getting their old recordings and archiving them. So obviously, that's what archivers do. They make space. And so while he's doing that, on a couple of tapes, he finds some broadcast signal intrusions where you get this weird Max Headroom guy's face thing here. And it's all distorted audio and things like that. And basically goes on a big investigative journey to find out what these are. And he starts getting obsessed with it when he finds out that the last time where the tape's missing for the last intrusion happened to be a day after his wife went missing. And there's a theory that the people in the signal intrusion, shut up phone, were women that were basically kidnapped a day before, and then when the signal went out, that's them basically being forced to be in front of a camera and then potentially being killed, or they're never seen again anyway. So he gets obsessed with it, thinks this is what happened to my wife, and so goes on a massive investigative journey to find out what happens. Everything's just given to him, and in the end he goes to this house where it's actually all happened, and then it's kind of, you never actually find out if that guy was the actual killer. It's all very disappointing. But makes him build the set again, records him confessing what may or may not be his crimes, kills him, buries him, drives off. Really weird ending where he sees a robot with the mask on that he runs over. Ugh.
And then it ends, and you are like, "Oh,
wasn't great."
It felt like it was trying to do a thing that could have been quite interesting.
Yeah.
Except I've seen it done before. Of the like, is he actually mad and he's repressed the memories of doing this? And like, you could, if they were going to lean into that, they could have had it where the sort of signal intrusions are almost like a kind of Freudian metaphor for the sort of repressed memories coming up out of his unconscious, and done some really interesting things with that have been done before, but at least it's a bit more interesting than a kind of, he just sort of ended up there and then he killed a guy and then, stuff, which is what it did instead.
It ain't no Fight Club.
Yeah.
It ain't no Fight Club indeed. It's, but I wouldn't say it was a Hellraiser 5 either. Spoilers for Hellraiser 5, but trust me, I'm saving you. No. Anyway.
Can I point out one potential continuity error in this film? I don't know if I'm right.
Just one?
Well, there was another one I spotted in sort of later on in the film in the bar. But when you know at the beginning of the film where he's got that sort of the guy who I can only describe as an Asian version of Matt Jarboe.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about.
Was he Asian?
Do I have a photo of him?
Well, I don't know, but if Matt Jarboe was Asian, he'd look like this guy who was interested in the main character's camera.
Yeah.
I don't think I've got him.
Well, I don't think he was Asian.
He wasn't Asian at all.
But he
Okay.
just. I'm just saying he'd look like an Asian Matt Jarboe.
I like to classify people correctly.
Yeah, that's what I try and do, and so this guy for me was
Asian,
Matt
white,
Jarboe.
same thing.
Exactly, according to the certain elements of politics, anyway. But yeah, so when our main character comes across, or is it James, the main character?
Oh, I never remember.
It's James,
names.
Harry Shum Jr. James.
Yeah.
When he comes across, I think it's the first video, and then he gets Asian Matt Jarboe to come round. And that's when he's obviously got the Betamax and stuff like that. He starts sort of going into the lore about it, and he mentions that in 15 years it hasn't been solved. Now, the first film, or the first incident, I believe was in 1987, but the film itself was set in 1999. So it was only 12 years there, not 15.
Yeah.
Unless he meant to say about 15.
What a catch!
And
what
then
a catch!
And then there was just one bit later on when, because there's another character in the film which I'm sure we'll talk about later on. There's a bit of dialogue where she's clearly not talking. It's just poor editing, basically. But yeah, it was
There's
that first
one more
bit,
I can point out.
Ooh,
One
do
more, another big one. The big day, 23rd of November '96. That's when the signal went out. He shouts at the guy saying, "You did this 21st of November."
Oh no!
Does he?
How did you? Yeah, he shouts 21st November. I listened to it twice, and I'm sure he says 21st. And I'm like,
Brilliant.
oh no! How have you done that?
You had one job. You tattooed it.
I know he did. He could have literally gone. You did this on 22nd.
Yeah.
I see more chats coming in. Hey, Slim. Hey, Artful Lodger, if I didn't say hi to you already. And Mr. Gently Benevolent has already won the chat, but keep going, guys. The third broadcast signal intrusion is immoral. Yeah, but I was trying to think of...
Starbound channels I collect wrongs.
Oh my
I was trying to think of a sort of Asian Matt Jarboe versions, but I can't get it.
Jarbo Chan's pretty good.
Jarboe Chan is going to have to be.
I was thinking of Vouch instead of Jarbo. I've got my...
Oh, no, that's interesting.
Mixed up.
You could, well, to be fair, you could argue that he's Matt Jarboe and Vorsh's love child. By the way, I know it's a bit sort of late now, but you know those images I was trying to show you on my screen? I popped them in the Discord if you wanted to just show the chat what I was... If you want to show the chat what I was getting absolutely
you need to show
twisted
us.
about.
Okay, I'm going to show you, but they are very upsetting, folks. They're just very uncanny valley.
Yeah.
All right, hang on.
This is going to be one of the episodes where we talk more about other things in the film.
Very possibly. I wasn't sure
fair,
if we'd talk about everything else. What was the one where we just talked about literally everything else?
Oh, that was...
It was a really... Oh my god, I hate that picture.
It's awful, isn't it?
Yeah. Get it off the screen.
All right.
There's more.
Uncanny
Yeah,
Valley. One more
another.
that's possibly worse.
I really want to watch
There's a
Chan now.
real crime
disturbing?
watch
They're just
vibe to it.
faces.
The second one's more of just a face. The first one, it was a mouth. It just didn't look real. I guess the thing is that they moved the mouth slightly to the left there.
Yeah.
Or the nose slightly to the right. It's kind of
Have
hard to
they
tell.
made the eyes slightly bigger?
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's Uncanny Valley, that's why it's
Oh,
disturbing.
the nose is very incorrect.
Left as well.
Yeah.
But it's interesting though, because I mean, those pictures gave me the same vibes as this whole, as the film really, because that was the thing that drew us in, wasn't it? It was the whole, face, the whole faces and the uncanny valleyness of it, and just the
masks,
unnatural, the unnatural movements of the people in the videos. I mean that. Oh, mate. I mean, in terms of getting the reaction that you want from the audience. It very much achieved that with me when he was playing the videos. I would have liked to have seen more of that, because there was a lot of stuff going on in between where there wasn't really much going on, if that makes sense. This film just felt like you get to this bit, you see spooky video, quite understandably he wants to look into it, and then not really much happens. He speaks to a couple of people, and oh no, he's got access to the second video, so watch that. Ooh, spooky, it's creepy, definitely. And then just more investigation. But for me, you see everything in the trailer, basically, for the freakiness. You see everything in the trailer. This
Yeah, I mean, the trailer led me to believe this was going to be a lot more conventional in tone. I mean, the plot is fairly conventional. It's just like the interesting thing in this film for me is all in the delivery and just how it's framed, because how can I say? It is gorgeous. I think this film looks absolutely beautiful, and you can see in every setup how much effort has been made to make it look nice. So the director has really gone out of his way to make something that looks visually distinct and stunning.
Oh,
But
definitely.
then he didn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just felt like there was so much potential, so many good ingredients here.
Yeah, the design is amazing. Like the thing of, so two things I really liked. The first time we see one of these intrusions, you get real close-ups and he's zooming in, and you can sort of see that when you're able to see just a tiny bit of basically the human eye behind the mask, and it looks terrified.
Yeah.
That really freaked me out. And the sort of, sorry, Susan, I'm trying to use it properly, the sort of spastic movements that are being made and the sort of odd sexualization. Like there is a weird sexual vibe to these things, that she's kind of like the nightmare real doll.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, if Tash was watching it, I don't think she'd be able to look at the screen. She's got a thing for uncanny valley type things like that.
A thing for or a thing against? Those two are
Against, and she's very scared of them. It's not like she gets me to put on a possessor mask every time she sees me.
No,
to be fair, that might be an improvement.
Oh, mean.
Savagery.
Wow.
So that's working well, and it's got a good premise here to work with. We also should note that it is sticking very much to the disturbing footage format that we talked about. That's the whole reason I wanted to put this together. He gets the weird... thank you, Richard. Solidarity, man. Solidarity.
Solidarity.
You're like a little pass dealer. You can give so
Just
many out.
Opens up like a long Mac. Hey man, you want some word passes?
What are you buying?
I need that meme of Richard just like doing that, of opening the Mac and it looks like basically the index of beers.
It's like, I've got N-word passes, I've got A-word passes, I've got S-word passes. Oh, I don't seem to have a J-word pass. Oh no, I gave it out to that crime guy.
Nice.
Nice.
Wait, why do you get a J-word pass? Oh, I want a J-word pass.
Well, did you not check Twitter just a moment ago?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, Sean King's trying to use my...
Yeah, it's unbelievable, isn't it?
My ethnicity for his own political gain. The cheek of it.
I mean, well, that's what Sean King does. He just appropriates other
I know,
ethnicities,
right?
doesn't he? That's what
Did
he's
you
best
see
at.
John D absolutely winning with that?
No.
So when
I
Sean
would've thought
King
some props by
deleted,
him.
this is going to sound weird for anyone listening back to it, but so we're doing this just as Elon Musk has agreed to buy Twitter. He got that down, and has bought it. Sean King, there's some deep lore on that fellow. Deleted his account in protest, and John D summarized it as typical: an African American buys Twitter and a white man leaves. White flight in action.
Oh yeah, I saw Razorfist mention
Oh.
something along those lines as well. It was like Sean King deleted his Twitter account is an example of white fragility or white flight.
We really don't want to talk about this film, do we?
No,
I want to. I like it.
There are things to talk about with it.
There are lots of elements. So we've got lovely style. We got the thing that it fits the disturbing footage thing, which I was saying. So you've got someone finds the disturbing footage. In this case, it is a videotape, and then is really trying to investigate it. You know, you got the finding a little clue in there, just like in The Ring. Trace it back, except in this one. In this one, he can't really. It's not like The Ring, is it? He doesn't really find the answers himself.
yeah, no, I agree.
I was
definitely agree.
expecting things that did not happen. So I made. Do you remember? So one of the first things he does is he's looking at the bulletin board system records from way back in the day, and they're talking about two incidents, and one of them is it the Night Pirate? Actually, I have a screen cap. I can just read it straight off that.
Yeah, I know. Like, what were these message boards? I couldn't work it out. Like...
Oh, this was old. This was supposed to be like the old school chat rooms of the early internet.
So they are just random people. Like,
Yeah.
It's like a random forum,
They could just be talking absolute BS.
Yeah.
But he's just like, oh, people are telling me about this. So he only gets the. This is going to be one of the main problems. In fact, I think perhaps we should maybe let's stick on this a while. Shall we just focus on the investigation for a while and just run through how he solves the mystery?
Yes, until we stop talking about the film again. Yeah.
Yeah. So just when we get I was so convinced that he was the Night Pirate because I saw when he goes. This might sound weird, folks, if you haven't seen the film. One of the places he is, well, he doesn't find it. He's summoned to it. So someone does the investigation for him. He goes to an antiques dealer, and the antiques dealer has a file on him, and it looks like a police record. You don't get a good look at it. But I was like, oh, he has a police record. I think he was the Night Pirate because he's already obsessed with broadcast signal intrusions. Oh, I'm so clever. No, they didn't do that. They didn't do that.
Yeah, isn't Night Pirate just some random dude?
He is just random dude. He has nothing to do with the plot. Speaking of people who have absolutely nothing to do with the plot, where is she?
Well, I was thinking again when he's going through one of these chat rooms again, and then all of a sudden it's the night he gets fired as well. Like, he got fired from his job because he just kept like how long does it take to look at these videos? Like, come on, especially since he's got the stuff at home. But anyway, he gets fired from his job, and then I was talking about Sally Sparks, and he's going through the forums or whatever on that. His computer's just like, oh, you've got a virus now. It's going to be someone randomly typing to you saying you should meet. It's like, oh, why? Why do it this way? You know.
I mean, they did it in the Matrix.
Yeah, it made sense in the Matrix.
Nah.
Okay, at least had some kind of plot relevance then.
Oh, wrong image, guys. Sorry, wrong one. Oh, now I've got it somewhere. Oh dear.
Next one's just going to be his raging boner, isn't it?
Yes, please.
Oh my god. No.
Going out with a bang. Okay, sorry. You were saying you were recounting it, so he comes across this. By the way, just to get distracted for a section, this is something. I know we should do the investigation. I want to maybe let's foreground the discussion of how he does his investigation with the suggestion that the whole plot is backwards. Right? He is just doing his job, and he comes across the broadcast signal intrusions. And then, by massive coincidence, it turns out that is relevant to his missing wife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Should he not be trying to find things out about his wife? And he eventually lands on weird theories about broadcast signal intrusions because he's just at the end of his tether. He's looked everywhere. He's got nothing left, and that's where he lands.
It would
Because
make so much
he'll-
more sense.
The plot
Be
is in
less ass
reverse.
backwards.
Yeah,
I'm
what he
not
should
getting
have, what he should have. But I think what you're trying to say is basically he should have been looking for his wife, and then stumbled across these.
Yeah,
Is that what you're
totally,
saying?
totally.
Yeah, because
Oh, right.
because
Yeah, I
it's
get what you
because
mean.
it's really
It's just
weird because
coincidence.
it starts off as a dream sequence, doesn't it? And
A nicely disturbing dream sequence.
yeah, I thought it was a really good. Sort of beginning scene. Some nice some nice visual shots there. And then like you said, he just sort of stumbles upon this video, and that was the one thing about this film really that sort of made me struggle to sort of connect to the that was one of the things that made me struggle to sort of connect with the investigation was, okay, it's obviously going to lead to, it's obviously going to connect to his wife's disappearance, but why is he seeing these images now? Why is he seeing them before this happening? Oh, look, this is, and now he's seen them all of a sudden. Like that for me kind of is the catalyst behind him going down the rabbit hole, because he's seen these things before. But I definitely agree. He should have been first and foremost searching into his wife.
Searching for his
He
wife.
should. Like you say, it's all gone in backwards. All went backwards. The first video that he should have seen was the last one that he watched. That's the one that he should have watched,
And that should have got him looking for the others.
and that would have been a much
Yeah.
a much more driving force. And it just so happens that he works in a place that archives videos, and then he could start looking into that, and he'd have access to all of that.
Yeah, and I mean, he leaves notes asking the boss for like, oh, I need like this video because he thinks that's the signal intrusion on it as well.
And the boss's response to that was like, "You're getting obsessed with this. Drop it." And I was like, "We've literally only seen him be interested in it for about
It's been a
24
day.
hours.
Yeah.
Yes.
Give him a break, mate. I mean,
So what-
micromanager or what?"
So
yeah,
why are you
the
being obsessed with this? Like, he's doing his job. What?
But the film was very sort of eager to make people or to make the audience aware that you shouldn't be looking into it. You shouldn't be looking into it because there was a whole thing about the FBI and the FCC
It was
involvement
very
as
much
well.
doing
Yes.
it was sort of telling, not showing. It kept being like, "Oh, he's obsessed. He's frantic. Everyone thinks he's mad. He shouldn't be looking, and he needs to stop." And I was like, "You haven't actually shown that he's frantic and obsessed, really."
Yeah, that's the feeling I got. Is there was the weird scene where he tried to stop. Who's the old guy who was in the car who he initially talks to?
Oh, that professor.
Was it
Dr. Lithgow.
Dr.
Yeah.
Lithgow, yeah.
I never
think
really
I have
got
a
who
chat with him.
he. I never really got who he was. If that makes sense. Like, I don't understand how why he went to him in the first place, basically. But that is something I probably missed because I found this film very uninteresting. I was going to say at the start of that scene, though, I was very confused. Like, they did the movie thing where he gets in the car and then drives off and he's just standing there in the middle. Why not just say, "Hey, hold on a sec before you get in your car," or anything like that? But yeah, he's saying you're obsessed with it, and he's like, it's 2 tapes, and they are really weird, and he's clearly getting somewhere with it. Like, that's not an obsession.
No, he's making. I mean, everything's sort of falling into his lap, but the film is essentially showing you that he's making he's making advancements in this investigation that no one else has done before, and everybody at every crossing he's just getting blocked. No one's taking him seriously, and everyone's encouraging him to come off the case. And it's like, but you guys don't know what's on the other end of that because you haven't got as far as this guy's getting, and he's actually connecting the dots that you guys were obviously spent more time on, or had and had more had better resources to investigate. And now you're like, no, don't worry about it, forget about it, it's fine, just drop it. It's like, wouldn't you be a little bit interested, especially if you spent as long as that Dr. Lithgow guy had spent on the case? Yeah, because I think he said he spent like a year on it or something.
Yeah, and then But everyone's treating him as if he's like the mental guy that he meets. But he's clearly, well, more sane anyway. It's just people are reacting to him very strangely. And then even Alice, who we meet later, she just leaves for no reason as well.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
So I want to ask a question because I wasn't clear on this.
Mm-hmm.
How does he get contacted by the antiques guy? When does that happen?
That's
on
the
hack.
screen. Yeah,
That's
that was
the computer
the
hack.
Matrix bit.
Wake up, Neo.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was the wake
Okay.
up Neo
Yeah.
bit.
There
yeah.
it is. I was just trying to remember it. It's sort of,
Yeah.
what?
Well, yeah, but it's like, why would an antiques guy like Matrix him? And if it wasn't him, why would a homeless guy do that as well? Like, it just it's so strange.
I liked the homeless guy. I thought he was good.
Yeah.
I thought there was lots of good stuff with him. So also, I'm
Then he kills
showing
himself.
these because I think this film is gorgeous. It looks so darn good. Even if we're pointing out some issues with the actual investigation plot, it does look gorgeous. So this guy, there is a lot to say about him. I think he's... Sorry, folks, many screen caps, and I have got it here. Right, here's our lad. I think he is very interesting and well used. There is a criticism, but so this guy is someone that James is asked to deliver the package for, putting him into the sort of murky realm, putting himself at danger. But then you're finding out that this guy is actually just someone who is basically also, like him, obsessive. You know, it's the kind of warning of, if you keep following this path, this is where you're going to be. This is what's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
Again, we were only ever told that. We didn't really see, learn anything more about him. We were just, oh yeah, no, he's obsessed with it. Oh no, he's got his own throat.
I don't understand how it made him homeless either.
Yeah.
I think the film wants you to be interpreting it. It's not wanting to spell things out as obviously, which is what makes it a bit hard to assess.
Yeah, this character I refer to as Bad Ending Jesse.
No. He has got a bit of like a Marv from the Wet Bandits look to him.
Yes.
You know? Bit of that vibe going on there.
Oh, definitely.
I think the thing is, you can have a film that doesn't spell things out and leaves a lot up to interpretation, that also has a bit more substance behind it than this. This one, it felt like, to me, I don't know if I disliked the film or not. I just felt a bit kind of lukewarm about it. But it was like, it's not like they were sort of leaving you to sort of interpret what was going on. It was like they hadn't fully thought through what was going on, but they were like, "Yeah, it'll do. It'll be fine." Is how I felt about it.
Yeah,
very stylish kind of. Meh.
There is a certain look. The film is rich in dream logic and ambiguity, and that's kind of great because you're going to interpret it. Like, wait until we get onto Mulholland Drive. Oh my gosh, we will be interpreting like crazy.
It's not a horror film.
It's got some pretty horrific bits in it. Anyway, but this ambiguity, it can make it hard to warm to it. So I just haven't made my mind up about this. I will probably rewatch it and try and make a bit more sense of it. I think there's some fun interpretation to be had, but I like this guy as a sort of warning of where it can go if you stay obsessed. However, I do have to note, whilst I'm going to have to spoil another film extensively. So we're already in spoilers for this film, because we're going to talk about the next scene, which I believe is the only other scene with this guy.
I think you're right.
Yeah. The next scene is basically lifted from another disturbing footage film that I considered us covering, but I wasn't that sadistic, guys. I'm too nice to you. I wouldn't make you watch it. I considered it, but it's pretty hardcore. It's this scene. So I'm going to give spoilers for the film Caché or Hidden. So if you are interested in Michel Haneke's Hidden, aka Caché, then mute us for about 30 seconds. I'll tell you what, I'm going to put a banner up saying you can unmute. Sorry, I'll put spoilers for Caché. And save, and I'm going to get that going. If you do not want us spoiling Caché, mute until we've uncovered it. Okay, right. I don't know if anyone cares about a French film, but
having scanned the synopsis and decided to stop reading, I really want to watch that, so I might need to also not listen.
Okay,
that sounds
if you
incredible.
want to,
we're watching that next Halloween.
Okay, all right. Take your headphones off, and when I've finished with that, then go for it.
Right, you are.
Okay, so in Caché, you've got a scenario where a chap is being sent videotapes that are surveilling his house, and he's like, who the heck is recording me? And he really doesn't have much to go on. He's doing his own investigation, and he eventually thinks that someone he used to know from school, who was an Algerian who he bullied, possibly is doing it out of revenge. So he tracks this guy down. He gives him a bit of a roughing up. He tries to see him a few times, and the guy absolutely denies any knowledge of it. And when he visits for the final time, the guy just asks, why are you victimizing me? Takes out a knife and cuts his throat very suddenly. And the claret just sprays everywhere. And you have just... No one is prepared. When I saw it, there were literal gasps and jumps because it was bloody as hell and you just did not have any warning. And so when this scene happened here, I've got to be honest, I kind of thought, this is Caché. I think there's no way that they didn't watch Caché and take that scene. What did I mean? If you guys haven't seen it,
I've not seen it personally. Don't worry, I've not seen it.
What did you think of this?
I just found
aiming for it to be memorable.
I mean, I think they were going for the shock value, weren't they? To see how far this whole rabbit hole had really ruined this guy's life. Because the last thing he says is, "I just want to sleep," before he goes and does what he does. But again, it's a lot of showing, not. It's a lot of telling, not showing. You know,
I don't even think that's the problem. It's just why did he kill himself?
It just doesn't make sense. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I think the best way to describe this scene was confusing.
Yeah.
You just don't really understand it because you don't know the character well enough to understand his motives behind doing what he's doing. All you know is he looked into these into the broadcast signal intrusions, went a bit loopy, and has now killed himself. But you don't see that path, and obviously we're not expecting you to go down that path because I suppose you're seeing it happen to James in real time.
Well, the mechanics of the whole scene are so weird as well because it starts with James just like looking at his board upside down, and then he gets a knock at the door, and it's some guy in a dressing gown who hands him a phone.
Oh yeah.
And then he runs over to the window with the phone. He looks outside, says like, "Oh, you SOB or whatever," and then he runs down to see the guy down there, and then he says like, "Oh, don't you know they can track you on those phones?" And he says it's a burner phone, and I'm like, for any of this, why do you need a burner phone?
Yeah,
you've not got the cops on you. No one's like listening to you. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
you can put the spoilers for Cash away, by the way.
Yeah, I think we can probably say we're done with that. Okay.
Yeah, it's just...
and then they killed everyone. Oh shoot! Oh crap!
Yeah.
Welcome back, anyone who really wants to preserve the secrecy of Michel Haneke's films.
Yeah, because, well, I mean, I'm going to assume everyone heard that, but yeah, the mechanics of this scene are just insane. Because she's got her headphones on watching the thing, and then she notices he's gone. And then the whole scene's just weird, because then it's just muted. while clearly he's going mad. The other guy's trying to James tell him to calm down, but
Yeah.
she's slowly come down the stairs, and I'm like, does she know this guy? Is there going to be something big going off? And it's the climax is just, oh, he kills himself, and I'm like, what?
To be fair, I didn't pick up on the whole burner phone bit, but that's such a good point. Like, why do you need a burner phone?
There is why is he involved? What's going on here? Yeah, it's a very well timed horror scene, you know, at the right part in the story to get people on the move. But the actual internal logic of it, I think, is quite shoddy.
Yeah, I don't know who made this, but you said his name before. I can't remember his name, but
Jacob Gentry.
Yeah, is he the type of person who has good set pieces and then tries to write to the set pieces rather than, you know, when you make a story, I think, you know, you'll have set pieces in your story if you're a good writer, but you need to kind of write first, make the internal logic first, and then be like, where can the tweaks be to get set piece I want? And that's
you get that kind of. Oh, sorry, Haryan.
I was just going to say that's what makes a talented writer.
Definitely.
This is awful.
I mean, Jacob Gentry did not write it. It was written by Phil Drinkwater and Tim Woodall. But I can see that logic of like the Marvel logic of, okay, we need a chase scene at 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And we need a fight scene with the primary antagonist at 25 minutes. So get us to, like, literally, you've been talking too long. We need an action scene. In this, we've been talking too long. We need some gore. You know, it's similar to how they like to throw out the old sort of initial killing scene for people to sate them while the plot is being set up. You know, you get a quick kill in the first scene, and then you'll be okay for another 20 minutes.
Yeah. One thing I would say is that the blood effects of the throat slice were better than 8mm.
Yeah.
Well, yes, they did some. I mean, so you know,
they were it was existent in this film.
Yeah. It worked for me. Like, it was gross and shocking. I mean, so it worked. I just think it was not well integrated, and it was kind of just dropped in, as you say, Harry. And the scene makes very little sense once you stop and think about it.
I've just realised why they have this scene as well. It's to get James and Alice out of the to the motel. But it's such a stupid way to do it, because why they're like, oh, we need to hide, it's not safe for us anymore. And I'm like, what do you mean? He didn't attack you. It's the only person knowing that you're doing that.
Yeah, and also it's not as if it's easy to determine that he did it to himself. Do you know what I mean? It's not like because they sneak out when the police lights are going off, and I'm like, surely that's not the only door in that place. Secondly, why are you trying to hide from the police? Just tell them, he killed himself. Yeah,
and you'll have. I mean, they won't have CCTV, but 2 witnesses. He killed himself. He's a homeless guy, so who's going to care anyway? We don't have fingerprints on it. We don't even know who he is, because you can get away with not knowing who he is. Quite frankly, he uses burner phones. He was a no one.
Yeah.
Can I point out something else that I noticed after this?
Yeah.
James is splattered with blood, and so they leg it to the hotel. And you see him chilling in the hotel room in his bloody shirt.
Yeah.
Like,
you did really well.
Go up to the reception covered in blood.
I thought that. Yeah.
I know motels in America aren't.
Please.
I was going to say, I know motels in America aren't always that picky, but even then, I'm sure they'd be fairly skeptical.
Unless Alice booked the room, but still.
Shall we talk about Alice?
Oh.
Yeah, I hate her.
Oh, I knew it. I knew it. I knew Haryan would hate her.
I mean, she comes in the story by following James for literally no reason.
Literally no reason.
No reason.
All she's there for, the only reason she's in the film is because she knows Morse code.
That's it.
The reason she's in the film. And it's like, we're going to have like her to bounce. Oh, he's going to ask him what his hobbies are. Oh, it's like, yeah, I get it. He's not an interesting guy. which is why when the film in the end, it's like, oh, maybe this guy was mad. I'm like, I don't care. All he was a wage slave. That was it. His whole life was going to therapy, drinking, archiving footage. It's like, yeah, he's not interesting. Thanks. I'm glad he's mad.
Are you telling me that you did not like the bit where he was stalked by a scary person who just followed him in and then made him consume alcohol?
It's literally like, oh, he's like, what are you? Who are you? It's like, oh, drink first. Yeah, I'm literally just someone following you. That's not creepy.
She literally has no reason to make him drink first, unless she's like, he might be dangerous. I should make him less dangerous by making him drunk, so I can get. Oh no, I'm going to pound the drinks too. Cat appearance.
The first shot had Rohypnol, the second had Viagra. That's my headcanon.
The shot and the chaser.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. She was literally a plot device, and she was more interesting than James, I'll give you that, but...
She was a very interesting plot device, but yeah, it was just like...
Yeah.
She didn't really... She knew Morse code. She was sort of there in the background of his scenes.
Yeah.
And then she just disappeared.
I found it horrifically annoying at the fact that her reasoning for being in this film was just pure coincidence. In that, you know, you're like, oh, she must be connected to these tapes because, you know, we're now seeing her pop up after he started watching them. Like, what's the connection? And she's just like, nah, I like following people. I feel more in control. It's like, so you got, and she's absolutely clueless as to what he's actually doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, and then cutting myself. It's like, what?
It's like, what are you doing? Like, what? I mean, it's weird. So you just rock up into a town and start following some random person. Okay.
Literally, that's a whole character.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Alice.
And this one time you were useful because you knew your dots and your dashes.
And that's the other thing. She followed him and then decided to completely get enmeshed in what he was doing. It's like there's no understandable motivation there. It just doesn't make any sense. And
she's like, "Can I crush at your place while I'm on my feet again?" I'm like, "Well, I didn't even know you're in dire straits." What's this about? And then she's got money for a motel room with him. Well, unless he paid for it.
She's sponging off him. She's a woman. That's what we do.
Her motivation makes very little sense, and it's the whole you would not get she would not get away with this if she didn't look like the typical person who is this into tech and Morse code.
Was this the character that you said looked like Abigail Shapiro?
Yes.
Oh, I saw Natalie Portman.
Yeah, I can see a bit of Natalie Portman.
How can someone without Kazar Milkers possibly be Abby Shapiro?
Because to be honest,
because
to be honest, I thought my Max Headroom avatar was more Abigail Shapiro than this character.
Harsh, very harsh.
Well, I'm just no. Hear me out, right? Because I ain't talking about the face. When it pans out of it, there are some milkers on display.
Those are not Kazar.
And I was thinking, like, are you talking about the face, or are you talking about what's underneath the face? I was really confused, so I had to clarify this. So, thank you for clarifing.
I was worried, like maybe it's years of 80s action movies, but I was worried there was I was worried they were going to have the obligatory awkward sex scene.
Yeah,
but I mean, they didn't.
I don't want that.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, no. To be fair, I'm not surprised they didn't because, he was obviously still grieving over his wife.
Sorry.
I love him.
Sorry, wrong one.
Sorry, I can't remember what other things that guy's been in. Do you have any shots of other films?
I do.
No.
I am leaving.
Right. Do you want me and Haryan to make it to episode 60?
Okay. All right. No more shirtless hot Asians. All right.
Not until 10 o'clock.
The whole there's a phone number in the distorted audio as well. Ooh, well, the Morse code. Yeah, let's phone it. Oh, it's more distorted audio.
It's also just a bit like, of course, the person who figures it out is a young, attractive girl who's a bit wacky. Like,
I wouldn't even say worked it out, just knew
Spotted
Morse
it.
code. It's like, yeah. Well, I mean, if you're not looking for Morse code, you won't hear it, to be fair. But yeah, and then she's also like, oh, this phone goes to this random lockup place. Let's go there. All right, fair enough. That makes sense. They look in it. I don't know why the guy allows them to look in it when it's paid for by someone else, but whatever.
Massive Silence of the Lambs vibes in that scene, by the way.
Yeah, what happens with that phone call? That was who convinces him to look
played
into
a
it?
recorded message.
Correct.
Maybe.
But then they managed to get the details of the person who paid for the locker, who was the
Which was the idea, yeah. Well, yeah, because
drunken bloke with the hat.
yeah, because this was another weird thing. It's like they go there, they find that it's just an answering machine with a phone. And it's like, oh well, that's a dead end then. And then they're like, oh well, who owns this? And I'm like, I'm not telling you. Then they go in the car. He gets a phone call, and he's like, oh, I'll tell you who it is now. It's like, man, we love
what?
I don't understand the mechanics of that. Like, how can? All I can think of is it's the guy telling me it's okay to tell them who it is, but I don't know. This is the thing. There's a lot of just coincidence. It's like, how would you know to call at that point if you did? How do we know it's even you? Like,
I
it
sort of
keeps.
assumed that the phone call was unrelated, but he just decided that the girl was hot, so decided to give her the information.
That could
That
be
was
what he
the kind
did.
of vibe I also got.
Yeah,
Either
that's
makes no sense, but
Yeah, they're both stupid.
Yeah, because at the beginning of the scene, when they pull up to the lot, she takes one look at him. She's like, I know how to handle him. And then there's a little bit of, he's watching. He's watching from the car as she's chatting away to him, and then sort of gives him the signal to come in. And then describes and then the scene goes on as Haryan described. But then, like I say, it was just really odd how initially he was like, "Nope, sorry, can't give you the information." Then the phone call comes through, and I don't even know why why James is the one who answers the phone.
Yeah,
it's
James
not his
answered it.
Yeah,
and it's
why
like,
did
it's for
he
you.
answer it?
Like,
no,
no, duh, it's for you.
Yeah. And then obviously he's like, nah, actually, do you know what? I'm gonna break data protection rules. Yeah, here you go. Here's the name address. Here you go. Fair enough.
Oh my god!
Was it the phone call? Was it the thottery? It's just not really explained because he doesn't say, "Oh, that was the person." They said it was okay. He was just like, "Oh, sorry, I was rude earlier." It's like you weren't rude, mate. You were following the rules.
Job.
Yeah, you were doing your job, and now you've just done it really badly.
I almost feel no, I do think we've been shown a guy who's mentally unraveled and basically become a tramp who self-offs in Minecraft, and you think, okay, that's got to be the warning that as you go down this trail, you are going to become more unhinged. I always feel like we should have a bit of horror, like maybe James is willing to actually use violence against the guy who runs the lockup to get the information.
Yeah,
it's like a little sign of him coming undone, something like that. I don't know. Could have fit in well.
I don't know. It just frustrated me. Many of the scenes, like you say, beautifully shot. Love the layouts. But I just found them really frustrating because they had potential, and it just dropped the ball so many times.
Yeah, this film could work with the set piece it has. It just needs a complete rewrite.
Absolutely,
to make the investigation right. So
yeah.
They follow him back. He's credited as the Freaker, and that is Freaker spelt with a PH. It's an old term.
Yeah, because it's this Stephen guy's whole motivation was like, yeah, I was bullied at school because I had a stammer, so then I got in with the hacker crew. It's like, okay.
Those hackers.
It's like,
those wild and wacky hackers.
It's like, yeah,
it's like you can tell Azuma wrote the script.
It's like, yeah, it's like people did. You wouldn't have a group of hackers, and well, you would, but you'd have maybe one or two.
But you wouldn't call them the hackers.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, they were outcast too, so they let the guy with the stammer in. It's like, no, if they're isolationists, they're definitely not gonna like be like, hey, come along, we're outsiders too. You'd have to actually know how to hack things, which he learned from them. It was just a weird story, and he's like, yeah, they asked me to make the intrusion, and the obvious question from there is who's they, but I don't even think they ask that.
And they also keep hearing weird, creepy noises that they're like, oh, that's
Yeah.
weird, creepy. And then they're like, anyway, we should leave. That's cool.
I was going to say that was one of the most effective bits in terms of being creepy as heck.
They didn't follow through.
But it's
No,
like,
literally
it's
nothing
like, what is
happens
it?
from it, but it is an effective scare, I thought.
Yeah, especially when when Alice goes to the door, she can't open it, and then he sort of slowly approaches her, and then he's just like, "There's a certain knack to it." Click. Oh, okay, so they weren't.
And he just
at all.
He just wasn't at all phased by the loud bangings from upstairs. I was like, okay,
Well,
this is
they're
normal.
possibly super familiar to him.
Yeah.
But, it's a fake out. This is far from the first horror film to do a fake out, and this was particularly effective. I much prefer this kind of scare where it's just like intense atmosphere work that ultimately is diffused to, like the jumping out scary cat sound effect kind of scare that we'd get in many a slasher back in the day.
Yeah. It's just when it's added on top of a scene that's pretty cynical anyway. Well, I'm cynical about anyway. It's just, oh, come on, just get on with it. If you just want to tease me the whole time.
Yeah.
I do find it is hard to connect this guy's story with the Sally Sparks tapes that we saw.
Yeah.
I can't connect those as being the same products, at all. They seem like very different things.
Well, all this guy did was put out the signal for the mask video in the airwaves. That's all he really did. He wasn't involved with the kidnapper or anything. I don't even think he knew what they were doing on the other end. It's just, we'll send you a video feed, you signal it. That, from the sounds of it, that's what he was doing. But it's like, I don't even think they ask who the people were that asked him to do it. I think they just hear noises and go, "Oh, we need to go." And it's like, you're gonna go. He could tell you who was took the women.
Guys got a lot of information. We're gonna no. Okay.
While you say that, I mean, again, that's another thing that comes up because again, the idea is that the disappearances of these women are connected to the tapes, and you're repeatedly told that they're not connected by people like Lithgow, by the crazy homeless man. It's like, it's emphasising these aren't connected, and yet obviously he sticks to that. So it's entirely possible. This is the thing. This film, Horror Show said it, fake out. What is the true fake out? Is overarching. Are these connected, and these people just don't see it, or is there no connection and we're just watching a man tail spin into insanity because he's got too fixated on these uncanny valley videos and is now trying to see connections where none exist, which is amplified by the fact that one of the tapes that he's got is was carried out the day after his own wife went missing, But it's just not clear. It's just not clear.
I mean, we're fine with the ambiguity, but I think it can be hard sometimes to tell ambiguous from just messy.
But that's it. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of films with ambiguous endings. I think was it Seven's one of them, if I'm not mistaken.
Seven, French Connection comes to mind.
Yeah.
Mulholland Drive, Lost Highway, very ambiguous, but
there's
logic to them.
But yeah, exactly, yeah. But there's logic there, and there is a level of consistency. But this film is just trying to trip you up in so many places that by the end of the film you're just like, what have I watched? What?
Oh, the thing that had an ambiguous ending.
This had an ambiguous ending?
But the thing with an ambiguous ending is that you've got to be basically you've got to be given enough information to fit the story in your head,
Yeah.
and then you have an expectation for the ending, but then the ending isn't. It just is open ended, basically.
Yeah. They could have. Sorry to interrupt. They could have just ended the film with him driving away and not having the bit at the end where he does that. That would have been an ambiguous ending.
Yeah, this idea of the chief ambiguity is, did he always know about this third tape? And it's interesting.
Well, I'd argue it was more of the fact that was this connected, and was there a higher sort of power at work, or was this just somebody just falling too deep into the rabbit hole? That for me was the ambiguous reading.
Yeah, it felt like he was possibly being sort of towards the there was the bit at the end after he'd found the tape where he called the professor, and then the voice of the professor at the end of the call was very definitely not on the phone; it was just in the room.
Oh
His phone was unplugged. And I was like, are you trying to tell me that he's just hallucinating the whole way through?
That's another thing. I mean, that's why I keep saying this film ain't Fight Club. So that gives that twist so well.
Yeah, that's a good point actually, because he was he wasn't. It didn't sound like he was on the phone, did it? It sounded like he was.
I had missed that completely.
No,
that's why we need a panel.
You pointed it out at the time.
Did I? Oh,
yeah,
then
you
I've forgotten.
Don't make him. You were annoyed because you're like, they can't just make him mad. He can't just have been mad all along.
I was saying, I think it would be lazy, but I like this. I think I had missed that the phone was unplugged, so you wonder how he's taken a call. I think that's what I missed, but I'm interested in just how much did he know about this immoral third video, and we were coming up with some headcanon of how he could have not seen it, but the implication is clearly there that actually he knew about it, he planned it, he filmed it, and that's why he was able to record this, fairly specific low interest ballet broadcast, amateur ballet broadcast going on a public access network. But equally, because it's his girlfriend, you can understand that he may have just recorded it because it's his girlfriend, and then in the aftermath of her going missing, that he never went and watched that tape. I mean, we span out some fan fiction basically about an alternate opening to the film. I'll be indulgent because we're ahead of schedule. We talked about an alternate opening to this film where he is on the phone to her asking how the performance went, and his wife is like, "Oh, it was great, it's really cool," and he says can you pick something up or something before you come home? And she's like, yeah, cool, you got it recording? Yeah, I'll record it, but we can watch it together. So he's then kind of like, sorry, he's waiting for her to come back so they can watch it together, but she doesn't come back and he gets worried. And so because it's getting really down to the bone, he just says, okay, I set it recording. And then he leaves the room and he's just outside calling for her. And then as he's out calling for her and getting more and more distant, that's when we see the broadcast signal intrusion take over. And I thought that would be kind of like a nice creepy opening to establish what's going on.
Yeah,
rather than him just kind of recording her running and then randomly seeing a mask.
A slightly more conventional opening, but that's
no, because I just still don't get what the opening was doing.
Just illustrating he is kind of more in a fantasy world and still very much focused on his wife. But yes, I kind of like my silly fan fiction. But as we said, he's found this third tape, and as we've mentioned,
Well, he's not found it.
sorry, it's already there, and
Yeah.
it's just been placed because Alice had just buggered off,
Yeah.
slung a hook. Okay, I'm not sure why, and then happily, just before the film ends, the killer just drops a massive clue to where everything happened, after making sure to hide details really well in everything else.
Yeah, well, it's been implied that she was taken to that to the farmhouse because he finds a cap in there.
Yes,
the one that's like
you mean Alice was taken to the farmhouse?
Yeah. Which I just I'd be charitable and just say this is a sign of his madness and another hallucination, but you kind of need tells with this sort of thing. Otherwise, it's just, you know, bad.
Well, possibly we got tells like him imagining the phone call, but him going around trying to retrace old leads and they'd all closed up, like the antique shop had closed, was sort of slightly frustrating. There he is with her cap, as you say, and they then make the interesting choice after building up a nice bit of tension, having him hold a couple of hammers.
Yeah,
I mean, we did mention Old Boy earlier. Anyway, I also note that the jacket he's wearing is his missing wife's ballet school.
Yeah,
which I wasn't sure how to interpret. To me, him wearing that brings him closer to the memory of the event.
Did you say he was a dancer, Mike? The guy who plays.
Yes, Harry Shum Jr.
Not much evidence of that in the film. I'm trying to get you to show the pictures again.
Oh no! They've had their fill of tasty Asian lads.
God damn it!
Yeah. Sorry, where were we?
Sorry, I interrupted for a tedious joke.
That's okay.
We're way out of schedule.
There is a nice bit of tension, but then they actually have him meet the person who lives in the house, who they think is the guy who's been doing these abductions and making the creepy videos, and then they decide to film everything long shot. Just do you think it's too much to say they played it for laughs?
Which bit do you mean specifically?
Oh, sorry, the confrontation with the guy who's been filming.
I don't think so. I think they tried to make it quite gritty and realistic, but it just looked a bit naff. Because he's off screen, and I'm like, oh, they're trying to imply something here. He's going to come out with like a broken jaw or something. And it's like, no, they just come back on screen and they're having a bit of a tussle. And it's like,
it did feel a bit comic in a way.
Yeah, I don't think they were intending that. I think they were trying to intend it like, oh, look at him, he's really mad, he's really trying his best. Look, he's dragging him away. And it's like, oh, but this just looks gay. And he like comes in for a hammer, and it's like, how does he have time to walk in to get a hammer? This is a scuffle.
It landed very flat, and it was quite weird. I mean, in a way, it works because the film goes into this really quite sadistic vibe later that I liked, but I was just surprised that they deflated the tension so much with that bit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just weird, and then he's all of a sudden the guy's in a cage with a broken arm, and he's being interrogated about the wrong date.
Oh, bugger! Sorry.
I've just realised as well. Why are you like this? I've realised as well, even in the subtitles, it says 21st of November. So I don't know how they've managed, and he says it twice, so I don't know how they managed to get the script so wrong.
Did he definitely say 20? Because they were like, the people went missing the day before the Signal Intrusions, or was the Signal Intrusion the day before the people went missing?
Well, the Signal Intrusion was the day after the people went missing. So we know it's the 22nd that James's wife goes missing, or girlfriend, whatever, because he literally tattoos it on his wrist. So
that's right. It's such a weird continuity error.
Yeah, to have gone to the of having a tattoo and keeping the tattoo continuity correct, and then screwing that up.
I just don't know how they managed it.
Oh, it's just so frustrating.
So weird. Yeah,
It's a pretty awful slip.
But look at that shot, guys! Isn't it a lovely shot?
It's a gorgeous shot.
Floodlights, dude.
It's an absolutely gorgeous shot. I'm just like, gosh darn it! It's like the elements are here, but please, you could have rewritten this rather than as we kind of pointed out, folks. Let's just recap how we got to this moment. He is investigating he is working as an archivist and randomly encounters a broadcast signal intrusion. He then looks at message boards which give him the theory that it is linked to disappearances. He then goes to another after he's looking this up, someone then just contacts him and puts him in touch with someone he needs to speak to. That person then gives him just the information straight. Then randomly he's stalked by Alice, who gives him more information and does the Morse code. He goes to the lockup following her information, and then the guy at the lockup just gives him the information when he shouldn't. The freaker tells him everything, and then they say, cool. And then they leave. And then Alice leaves. And then the killer handily just leaves the address in the video. That's how we got here.
It's a lot of and then storytelling.
Can I just point something out that was really interesting as you were giving that sort of timeline of events? Up until this point, everybody had been willing to give James information, confirmation of what he was searching for. This is the only scene where that doesn't happen. He has to forcibly extract a confession out of this person.
Literally writes the script for him as well. I am not convinced that this man is responsible for these women's disappearances.
No,
I'm not.
Well,
I like the theory that James is responsible and is making the confession to give himself catharsis and cover. I kind of like that interpretation.
But I'd like the film to give us more to make that feel like it's not tinfoil. Because it's like, there's enough there that it could be, but it's also not concrete enough that it's not enough in the film. It's more like that's the solution you come up with because you're like, I don't understand why else they would do this, if that makes sense.
Essentially, what this film is trying to do, I think, is trying to warn you of the dangers of conspiracy theories and rabbit holes, because you might end up murdering somebody.
Going into the Capitol building.
well, yeah, could do that, but because essentially, like I say, he's making connections to stuff that aren't there, and what essentially was a prank has now been sort of twisted into this massive conspiracy involving women. Because what you got to bear in mind, right, is people go missing every single day. There's nothing really to suggest any sort of connection between the disappearances of these women and the videos. The videos make no mention of them. There's one. It's just coincidence, yeah. Like Alice, it's just coincidence that that she was following him. The only bit of dialogue that I remember that he gets out of the videos is "I fixed them all." Now you can interpret that in one of two ways. You can either interpret that as he kidnapped these women, he murdered them, and in his own sick mind he fixed them, or and presented them on video with the animatronics. Or you can interpret it as literally, here's some animatronic designs, and all of them have been fixed because they were previously broken.
Which is a weird thing to broadcast, but as I say, it could just be a prank, bro.
But it's just a prank, yeah, exactly. It's just a prank, bro. if you look at the actual Max Headroom case, that actually coincidentally, not coincidentally, but that the film intentionally made the first one start on the 20. Well, here you go. Actually, the date it actually was carried out was November 22nd, 1987. So they took the month and the date of his wife's disappearance and the year of the first one.
Yeah.
And so you got a little Easter egg there.
Nice.
But again,
I like that idea that this guy has nothing to do with it. The kidnap theory is nonsense.
Well, he's not nothing. He's not nothing to do with it. He knew where the set was and everything. The other thing I found weird was that his first instinct was to run away, and then he did lie. He's like, I didn't do that, but that's a lie because he had the same mark on his hand. So the thing is that we've got no idea, and the film doesn't give us any idea, which would be fine if the rest of the film was good. Basically.
Yeah, but I mean, he could have said that. I can't remember if he said that at the time before he realised that he wasn't a cop. Because again, he could be denying it because he might think that this guy's FBI or the FCC or FBI. Because again, the film tells you that the FBI and the FCC investigated this case. The FCC pulled these videos from the archives, and so this guy's probably said, "No, it wasn't me," because he thinks, "Oh crap, it's the authorities." And then he realises this isn't the police, and he laughs his head off. He's like, "You ain't the police. I ain't got to tell you anything."
And then he dies.
And then he dies.
Well, it's implied, but it's implied that grave did not have a body in it.
It was a pretty brutal one. I mean that switch to just, I'll let you go. Nope, grave. Was pretty brutal.
This is my punishment.
I just want to highlight though the shots of the filming were really disturbing. The visuals are all there. The guy licking his mouth around the torn mask was very really squicky, really stomach churning stuff. Just gosh darn it, the plotting needs to be better.
On that note, I've got another quick query. Which was that when he just happened to find his way into the basement for the chap who gave him more of the information, when he was hovering at the top of the stairs and eavesdropping, the conversation that the two downstairs were having was really sinister. It was like the kind of guy behind the desk and the young lad talking to him like, yeah, no, she'll be on her own. Yeah, she's about 5'3". She's describing someone and clearly implied that they were planning on kidnapping someone.
Kidnapping, yeah.
And then he just wandered off, and we were like, "Okay, cool, you do you, man." Again, the whole of this film was very that was an interesting thread. Oh, never mind. Oh, that was cool. No, you crack on, mate.
Unless it's trying to be one of those films that's kind of unless it's trying to be one of those films where it's like, oh, you can actually put all these things together and actually find the killer that way. But if it is doing that, it's being very, very what's the word? It's not being so far from obvious. It's basically not there about it. If it is doing that, but I don't think it is trying to do that. I think it's just like just from the feel from what the rest of the film's doing. It's just this feels like a clever thing to do. But they're it's like, why would the guy kill himself? It's things like that. It's like, this seems like a good thing to put at this point. Why not? Well, the reason why not is because it leaves an audience. It might leave a lot of people feeling, oh, what's going on then? Which you don't want halfway through your film.
But it's also one of the things of this is we have this conversation afterwards, and you get all these fridge logic moments where you just hang on a minute, that didn't make any blooming sense. What?
Yeah.
But by the time we get to this, okay, so he's done the burying. Again, it's a really lovely shot. He's wearing the jacket from his wife's ballet school, which we last saw in the dream sequence. And at this point, it's like it's all resolved, right? That's all kind of covered. Yeah, it's fine. He drives off, and then I was just waiting for this thing that we saw in the trailer, which is him hitting a body and then approaching it and finding the body be a really creepy version of the Sally Sparks doll. So I don't know about you. I remembered this in the trailer. I was just waiting for it. Did you guys have that?
What was that? Sorry, I was just looking at the reviews of this film.
I do not remember the trailer really.
Oh, okay. This really stuck in my head from the trailer, so I was waiting for it all film. I was like, why hasn't that happened yet?
Oh,
And
this bit here. Sorry.
Yeah. It's literally the last scene.
Yeah.
Again,
it's just...
looks gorgeous. You know, he's got the old double lighting there.
Here we go. One of the reviews here, unexplained ending. I'll skip out the middle paragraph. I've just sat through 100 minutes to be given no explanation for the film's bizarre and confusing events, or indeed any sort of payoff at all. Skip the middle paragraph. As for the ending, well, without giving any spoilers, I will just say that it seems the writer ran out of ideas about to wrap things up, so they just didn't bother. I'd agree.
Yeah, if you were to guess the Rotten Tomato score.
Someone gave this 8 out of 10. Someone gave it 10 out of 10.
No, Rotten. Are they the reviewers? Are they the reviewers?
Yeah, guess the reviewers score.
Oh, reviewers, I'd say 77%, I think. Because
it's somewhere in the 60s to 70s.
69. Nice.
Nice.
Audience score. Fewer than
10.
50 ratings, it's noted. 44%. 44%. Not
go with the viewer.
Not too.
It's probably what I'd expect really for Rotten Tomatoes. Because again, that just means 44% of people gave it 6 or above, and a lot of people are just like, people when they really mean 5, they'll put a 7. So that'll be why. Just bad film, naughty. Whoever made it, do better.
If you liked Zodiac, Ringu, or even Signals, you are probably going to like this one. Really worth a watch.
Oh, wow. Comparing it to Zodiac is maybe...
I
can see what they're going for, but no, I wouldn't really...
Sounds like... Are you sure they weren't reviewing Batman?
Well, that was 8 out of 10, and it's juxtaposed. Thank you. Against below a 1 out of 10 score. Who needs a Xanax with movies like this? Yeah, worst movie ever.
Oh God!
No, I wouldn't call it the worst movie ever.
I wouldn't call it the worst movie ever, but
it looks like a student's term paper.
Oh, savagery! Well, I suppose we are at the end of the film. I was about to do a wrap up, and then I thought, well, we should probably make it official and say, like, we got to the end of the film. Let's do some wrap ups of it, folks. If you managed to watch Broadcast Signal Intrusion, let us know your score. We'll be interested. Who would like to start wrapping up their thoughts on Broadcast Signal Intrusion?
I would say ladies first.
It's over to you, waifu.
There's a lot in it that I really liked. There were some cool ideas, and they could have done a lot with the Sally Sparks stuff to make it creepier. It's one of those films that I think I'm going to enjoy thinking about ways it could have been better, and that will be more fun than the actual film. So solid 5.5 out of 12 with a bit of lettuce. Probably a bean burger that slightly falls apart rather than an actual patty.
Vegans.
It's true.
As in you expected a nice meaty experience, and you got...
I mean, I'd love to have a bit more of a meaty experience if you have any more photos.
Well...
Nice try.
Okay. Yeah, I could go with that. I think, I'm a sucker for the amazing visuals. I think the design is great. It looks so good. The scares are incredibly effective. It's going to be a sort of thing where it's difficult to do a rewatch because they're fake outs. But there are some really wonderful, unsettling scares in here. The only problem... and the idea that actually it is all in his head and he's killed a guy for no reason is very appealing, deeply unsettling, and is probably the best idea going there. But as we've covered, gosh darn, this needs a rewrite and needs
Fez.
someone to just say, yeah, here you go. Most of your order is missing. Yeah, definitely. This needed a rewrite, and it needed the screenwriter's version of the rubber duck test, if you know that from
Rubber duck test.
Yeah.
do tell.
So you're writing code and you have a little rubber duck by the side of your monitor, and you just explain to the duck exactly what each line does and why it is there. So if you just laid out, well, he is wondering about this, and so he does this. And because he does this, blah. Whereas as we covered, I went through the investigation and discovered that everything is just provided to this guy. It's not like, we could do this with The Ring, where, we won't do the whole thing, but they see the tape and then they're like, oh no, we've got to find out more. So they investigate deeply and take it to an expert. And the expert messes with the tracking. And through the tracking, they see something that can identify where it was shot. So they look up things that look like that, look like lighthouses. Through there, they find a location. So they go to the location. So that has a logical through play, whereas this guy decides to do shots with this stalker because she's got those Khazar milkers. Anyway, I'd probably say this is a thing to be taken up with the screenwriters, to be honest. I would definitely watch something that Harry Shum was leading. I thought he was good in this. I would watch something the director made. I would be cautious with the screenwriters. For me, 7. I liked it was atmospheric. 7 burgers out of 12. Good atmosphere, good unsettling. The rewatch will be difficult. Over to TCG.
Yeah, I think while the scenes were beautifully laid out and the imagery of the film was positive, I don't think that's enough to really save this film. I can't give it as high as a 7. I'm just going to say straight off the bat. I think I can understand that you have a limited runtime in order to sort of tell a story and to lay out the investigation side of things. But as you've perfectly demonstrated with The Ring, like that there is a logical through line that someone can follow through, and I get what they were trying to do by sort of feeding you these little tidbits of information about it just being a conspiracy and that he shouldn't go down this rabbit hole and that he should pull himself back. But they made it. To be honest, I think they tried to make this film smarter than it actually was. It hadn't read Locke, basically. Yeah.
I get it.
Gotta read Loki.
Thank you. I agree. This needed extra time on the writing side of things. It was a bit messy in places. It was some bits were just dragged out for too long. We haven't even talked about the other woman, for example, who was in the therapy sessions, who he meets twice. I mean, that sort of goes nowhere.
I actually had a screen capped as like someone who's like, "Why are you here?"
Yeah, why are you there? Alice was a character who just disappeared without trace. Her introduction into the film and her reasoning for stalking stalking James was just ridiculous. But at the same time, it's really weird because at the same time I can understand why they would have used that, because she must be involved. Actually, she just is weird and just follows people because it gives her a sense of control. So it's throwing you all these messages and it's hard to sort of like keep track of them, especially for someone like me who just wants to watch a film. I don't do the in-depth analysis. You guys know that. it could have. What's disappointing about this film is that the trailer absolutely pulled me in, and I felt like what we watched was an unfinished product. I think with a little bit more time, with a little bit more care on the script, this potentially could have been like your 7s, 8s. But I'm afraid, yeah, it's like a 4. It's a 4. I like Fez's analogy of missing vital components. I definitely would agree with that. But here's the thing. I would suggest people watch it.
But why?
Just to see, because I would like to see what their interpretation of the film was. Whether they sort of got anything else out of it that perhaps I didn't see, or because I think one of the positives you can take away from this film is that it is very much open to interpretation, but at the same time you don't want to be filling in the gaps where the writer should have filled them in, if that makes sense. You know, it's the writer's job to tell the story, not for us to fill in all the bits afterwards that they neglected to mention. And I feel like this film would get sort of like the Last Jedi sort of treatment, where people are sort of justifying things happening in that film.
Yeah, you could. I think that's a pretty fair comparison. So it had the potential for a 7 or an 8, but what do you come down to?
4.
4. Oh,
It was poorly written.
Yeah.
12. Yeah. Nice.
Someone should have just shaken the writers and be like, "But why would I do this?"
Yeah, I saw what they were trying to do. I see what they're trying to do, and I really respect it. And had they pulled it off, it would have. I think it would have been a great story, and a really good ambiguous one at that as well. It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Especially at the very
so much
end.
potential.
Yeah.
This is one that idiot YouTube video essays would be like, "Oh, this film's really good because of the ideas," whereas I'm like, "But the execution was awful."
Yeah.
Well, let's hear you, Harry. Let's get your closing thoughts and score.
This was a mess. Can anyone name an interesting character? Which of these characters interested you? Which of these characters
Asian Matt Jarbo.
Asian Matt Jarbo.
Did you say more than 2 sentences about?
I liked Lithgow's voice.
Well, exactly. It's super
That was
stuff. It's
not what he said, but how he said it.
Exactly. It's just who are these people, or any of them? Like, the most interesting character was the boss, because I don't know any boss that would give someone 2 strikes and then not give them, like a disciplinary action beyond sticky notes. Like, that's one laid back boss.
Welcome to the 90s, mate.
Yeah, you've really annoyed me this week. You're on your 3rd strike. Here's some beer. Man, I wish my bosses were that nice. But yeah, just awful. Everything, as we say. I think there's maybe 2 examples where actual investigative work's done. And one of them leads to a dead end because he's just like, "Oh, see, there's a guy in the set here. Don't know who he is. Never find out who he is." And then obviously the other one was actually working out the Morse code thing. And saying, "Oh, I fixed them all." That doesn't lead to anything. We don't know what that means at the end. By the end, just every thread line just goes nowhere until eventually he just has to put his own thoughts together. He basically comes to his own conclusion that's not supported by anything. But he's going mad apparently, which is they only really try and push in the last 5 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes, and it's like, you've not really developed it though. You've just pushed him off a cliff. Which doesn't work. It really doesn't work. It reminds me of Game of Thrones season 8. It's just, Dany's mad, don't you know? Like, she killed people. It's like, but it's not why she's mad. Stop it. And yeah, side characters didn't make sense. The only time we actually get any sort of explanation as to what's going on, it's just like, "Oh, it's just a prank, bro," and even that might be a lie, but we don't know. You come away from this film going, "I know there's a mystery here, and I've learned nothing about it." And good mystery, like, think of any Jonathan Creek episode. There'll always be at the end when everything's recontextualized. Every bit of evidence, well, not every bit of evidence, but a lot of the evidence is recontextualized. You know, and in this, it's just, oh, forget about it. You don't need it for this story. It's like, well, don't be a detective story then.
Yeah.
For God's sake.
Yeah,
The new
exactly.
Batman film does it. The new Batman film does it really well. I don't know if anyone's seen it. But,
Batman
yeah,
again.
but
Gosh darn.
yeah, you need to see it. It's on HBO Max.
I want to watch. I want to watch the one with Adam West in it. Have you seen? Have you seen the trailer floating around
great
social
edit.
media? It's a
Great
fantastic edit.
I
Have you not seen it?
I've not yet. No.
I'll see if I can find it and I'll send it to you.
Yeah. So yeah, in terms of score, this is probably this gonna have to be one. This probably has to be one of the lowest. The only thing redeeming in this is really superficial stuff. I don't care about superficial stuff because the writing's the bedrock of it. So it's probably about a three burgers, and even that I think is being generous.
Okay.
Yeah. I would quibble whether delivering good scares is superficial, but I hear you. I can't.
Yeah,
I can't argue. Or it almost warrants like a full autistic like treatment and like the full hour-long deconstruction. But
Well, yeah, because it's like delivering a good scare. Is that the same language as delivering a good laugh? Because you can objectively, analyze these things, but it's kind of, it's one that we cannot go into now because it'll take 2 hours.
True.
It probably needs its own dedicated stream. But yeah, three burgers, no ketchup or cheese. This film gave me diabetes.
Oh no!
All right, TCG. Let's have that prediction. Not too bad.
Right, yeah, no, not too bad at all. I just hate the way I've got to open up this prediction. Right, prediction for Haryan.
Mm-hmm.
Haryan has 2 men inside of him.
The Man Inside Me by Tobias Funke.
Oh god, right. So one is impressed by the effort that went into framing the shots, creating a distinct visual atmosphere and making a film that was just not produced and by the numbers. The other man's jimmies are exuberantly rustled by the hanging plot elements, especially Alice. Her creepy behaviour and weak explanation, followed by just disappearing, will be singled out. I suspect the ending will leave him unsatisfied, and while he likes mystery, he doesn't like the incomplete feeling he's left with. Overall, the story is most important, and so Haryan will rate this fairly low. 5 out of 12 burgers, unexpected alley ketchup and soft babs. It's not a bad prediction.
No, it's
Still too generous.
Yeah. Because things with cinematography and that's kind of a bonus that pushes things from 9s to 10s and 11s usually. And this pushed it from a 0 to a 3, so so there's something
spotted
there.
a lot more problems than I did.
Yeah. Which is surprising because I was really bored by the film as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. It didn't keep me going. It didn't keep me.
Because the most interesting parts were the actual broadcast intrusions, but they're only really within the first kind of 20 minutes, and then there's not one for ages until he gets a third tape. And then it was an interesting. The ending would be interesting but you're kind of relying on the whole of the middle being interesting for it, which it wasn't. So
it's the old Joss Whedon quote of he'd be hired to fix the third act, and the problem with the third act is the first and second acts.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
basically, yeah.
Well, folks, we are at the end of broadcast Signal Intrusion. It was not the film I expected. I'm a little softer on it than others. I wonder if maybe 7 burgers was a bit too generous, but it's been laid out there. I have much higher hopes for the next film that we are going to cover, because we are going to enter May and we are going to start a brand new arc, and you can probably guess what it's going to be. We've done 70s sci-fi horror. We've done 80s sci-fi horror. After 1 month in between each one to give you a bit of breathing room, we're doing 90s sci-fi horror. Yes. And this has been difficult because the 90s and 80s, both, we had explosions of sci-fi horror. It was really tough to choose. I have had to sort out at least one rogue stream because I could not choose. I may do a second. I don't want to leave you guys missing out. I'm going to produce the full lot. The way I did for this arc, I'll give you a graphic with all the films we're covering. But while the order has not been sorted for definite, for the full order, I will tell you the thing that I'm pretty darn certain we're going to cover first. And it's going to be The Faculty from 1998.
Yes.
You are going to need to include lots of gratuitous pictures of Josh Hartnett.
Oh, come on. There can't be that many shirtless Josh Hartnett photos here on the internet.com.
I'm sure you'll struggle to find them, but I think you need
maybe
to.
If I Google now, I could. Anyway, while we're on the good side of Super Nanny, there's your horror homework. Watch The Faculty, 1998, from our good friend, Kevin Williamson, and starring the T-1000 himself. I'll have the whole list out for you very soon, folks, very soon. Now, how about yourself, Haryan? Anything you'd like to share, sir?
I made a video about Elon Musk opening a salt mine on Twitter.com that he now owns. So that was fun. Maybe another video later in the week for something that annoys me. I don't know. What I do know though is that tomorrow, because Tailed Feature was supposed to have his 100th Regional Variations episode, but the idiot went and decided to go to a gig instead. So that leaves my Wednesday night relatively free to stream on my own channel. So I bought a game called Trolley Problem Incorporated, and what it basically does is you go through trolley problem kind of scenario. So it's like, oh, you see a dying dog, do you kill it or do you like leave it? Things like that. And it judges you for it. It gives you a receipt of how of what you've done and whether you think you're moral. So I'm going to go through as much of that game as I can in that stream. If you want to see that on my channel tomorrow, hopefully it should be fun. For spoilers, yes, I do usually kill the 5 people. I leave the trolley to run. I don't pull the lever because I'm directly causing a death, whereas there I'm indirectly causing 5, and that makes me a better person in my strange head. So
nice.
There you go.
Okay, I'm gonna look forward to that. TCG, how about yourself?
Well, I've got obviously, other than the video that was out the other week, which if you haven't checked it out, go and please do. It's almost at 1,000 views, which I'm quite happy with, despite the lack of activity on the channel overall. There is something in the works, but it won't come out on my channel. I won't say too much now, but when I'm in a position to, I will announce on my community page. So if you haven't already, hop on over to the channel. Hopefully the link's in the description, but just look up That Crime Guy and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned. You can also follow me on Twitter, or you can buy me a coffee. It's all there.
Oh, expertly done. Wonderful. On the off chance, waifu, anything you like to chill?
Gatsby.
Perfect timing.
Perfect.
Oh, and now he's chatting on my keyboard, so I might get booted.
Oh, no, Gatsby, no. So I'd say my what did I call it? Oh, my video on the dark homoeroticism of Clive Barker's horror has not had 1,000 views, but I would love it to. So if you haven't caught that, give that a watch or a rewatch. I think it's quite good. I'm rather happy with it. And I've started work on a fairly ambitious one. It's going to be considerably longer. I'd like to think it's going to be...
long man!
I think it's going to be under an hour, not all that long. But I did originally ask you, do you want me to... the list of topics that I was interested in covering, and then, well, it was basically tied with the homoeroticism one. And it is on abortion themes in horror movies, both pro and anti.
Nice.
I'm sure it will be in no way controversial how both sides present their different arguments, but I'm pretty darn happy with it, and it's full of stuff that I think you folks will like. I'm editing that right now, but it is a large one, and it may take a fair bit of time, but I am working on it. So in the meantime, let's make sure the dark homoeroticism of Clive Barker video gets out there. I will thank my guests for being fantastic and spotting things in the movie that I had completely missed. Haryan with the date autism, absolutely fantastic. That was a great find, honestly. And chat, thank you. Not the most popular movie we've covered, but I'm hoping The Faculty more than makes up for it. I say we're on Super Nanny's good side right now, so I'm going to sign off here. Thanks, y'all, and cheers.
#RockGang.